The year is 1892. In a sleepy Georgia town where dusty roads twist past cotton fields and horse-drawn wagons creak under the southern sun, a child is born. He will come to be known by millions as Oliver Hardy. But for now, he is simply Norvell. His father, a Confederate veteran, dies before Oliver turns one. It leaves a silence that will echo through the boy's life. His mother Emily runs a boarding house to keep food on the table. The air inside is thick with the scent of pipe tobacco, fried ham and the chatter of strangers. Salesmen, travellers and drifters bring with them stories of far-off places. Young Oliver soaks them in, as though each word is a rehearsal for the stage he does not yet know awaits him. While other boys dream of farms or trade, Oliver dreams of applause. From the beginning, Oliver is bigger than the other children, heavy-set, round-faced, often teased, but he learns quickly that size can be wielded like a weapon or a shield. With the flick of his eyebrow or the slump of his shoulders, he turns mockery into laughter. School offers little joy. Teachers despair at his indifference. Yet when he sings, the room falls quiet. His voice, rich, commanding, surprising in its grace, seems to belong to someone far older. Guests at his mother's hotel reward him with coins, and for the first time, Oliver feels the peculiar thrill of being paid to perform. By adolescence, he is already restless. Milledgeville, where the family moves, feels too small, too stifling. But the town offers him one gift: touring theatre companies. From the back row of the balcony, Oliver studies the actors' timing, the projection of their voices, the way they hold an audience in the palm of their hand. It is a language he understands instinctively. In his late teens, Oliver drifts. There are attempts at higher education, law, music, but none stick. The pull of entertainment is too strong. By the early 1910s, America is falling in love with a new medium: the flickering images of silent film. Oliver finds work as a projectionist, then as a cinema manager. From the darkened booth, he watches reels spin and imaginations ignite. The glow of the screen fascinates him, not only what the audience sees, but how it makes them feel. Opportunity soon lures him to Jacksonville, Florida, then a thriving hub of film production, long before Hollywood's dominance. He joins a troupe of filmmakers, stepping in front of the camera almost by accident. With his large frame and expressive face, he is a natural. At first he plays villains, thugs, the comic brute, but behind the slapstick punches and pratfalls, a more nuanced performer is taking shape. By the early 1920s, Oliver Hardy has become a familiar face in the burgeoning world of silent film. Not a star, at least not yet, but a dependable presence. Hollywood in those days is chaotic, fast-moving, experimental. Studios spring up on dusty lots. Directors shoot half a dozen comedies in the time it takes today to plan one, and actors scramble for work wherever they can find it. Hardy fits perfectly into this new industry. His large frame, neatly trimmed moustache, and air of puffed-up self-importance make him ideal for a certain kind of role. He becomes what the industry calls a heavy, the blustering antagonist, the pompous husband, the officious boss. In dozens of films, he is the obstacle to be toppled, the butt of the final gag, the man whose dignity collapses spectacularly. But unlike other heavies, Hardy adds layers. He is never just a brute. Watch closely and you see the flicker of insecurity behind the bluster. The way his eyes dart, the way his expression crumbles a beat too late. He understands that comedy lives not in violence, but in timing, in the reveal. At Vitagraph Studios, Hardy churns out film after film. He works with the likes of Larry Salmon, often appearing alongside another young actor named Jimmy Aubrey. In these roles, Hardy learns the mechanics of slapstick: how to fall, how to take a pie in the face, how to collapse into chaos without losing character. Each pratfall is a science. Each roll of the eye is a brushstroke on a larger canvas. The nickname Babe follows him everywhere, given by a barber who noted Hardy's youthful curls and chubby cheeks. Even as he grows older, the name sticks. To friends and colleagues, he is Babe Hardy, a mixture of affection and gentle teasing. But on the screen, he begins to shape a different persona. Dignified, well-dressed, quick to anger, quicker to collapse. By the mid-1920s, Hardy is a seasoned professional. He is not yet a household name, but directors know they can rely on him. He arrives on set prepared, he nails his cues, and crucially, he makes the audience laugh. Hollywood is a place of constant reinvention, and Hardy is quietly reinventing himself with every reel. Fate in Hollywood often works by accident. For Oliver Hardy, destiny arrives in the form of a skinny Englishman with a mop of hair, sharp cheekbones, and a background in British music hall. His name, Stan Laurel. The two first share a screen in The Lucky Dog, shot around 1919, but not released until 1921. Hardy plays a small-time crook who tries to rob Laurel's hapless gentleman. The scene is brief, almost throwaway, but it plants a seed. Audiences chuckle at the contrast, the bulky American thug and the bewildered English dandy. Nothing comes of it at the time, but the chemistry is there. Years later, both men find themselves at Hal Roach Studios, a hotbed of comedy talent. Roach's lot is a factory of laughter, producing two-reelers by the dozen. Stars like Harold Lloyd, Charlie Chase and Our Gang all pass through its gates. For Hardy, it is another chance to ply his trade as the comic heavy. For Laurel, who has drifted between acting and writing, it is a chance to settle into a more stable career. At first they are paired together almost by coincidence. Roach has no grand plan for a double act, but something begins to happen when Laurel and Hardy share the frame. It isn't in the slapstick itself, it's in the moments between. The way Hardy reacts to Laurel's foolishness with slow burn and exasperation. The way Laurel looks to Hardy for approval, childlike and helpless. One story tells of the moment their partnership truly clicked. Hardy, in the middle of a scene, accidentally burns his hand on a hot prop. Instead of breaking character, he milked the pain, wincing, sighing, showing every ounce of his dignity crumbling. Laurel, instinctively, fussed over him, fluttering uselessly. The audience laughed not at the gag, but at the relationship. The chemistry was undeniable. Hal Roach, ever the opportunist, saw the potential. He began deliberately pairing them together. Slowly the formula emerged. Hardy as the pompous man undone by fate, Laurel as the wide-eyed innocent dragging them both into chaos. Their dynamic wasn't just funny, it was human. It mirrored the eternal push and pull between pride and foolishness, between order and chaos. By the late 1920s, the duo was official. They weren't just actors sharing a screen. They were Laurel and Hardy. The late 1920s and 1930s mark the golden age of Laurel and Hardy. With their bowler hats, ill-fitting suits, and perfectly mismatched physiques, they become icons of comedy. But what makes them special isn't just the slapstick, it's the relationship. In films like Duck Soup, Two Tars and Liberty, the formula is clear. Hardy, puffed up with false dignity, attempts to navigate the world with calm authority. Laurel, with his nervous scratching of the head and guileless grin, turns every situation into a catastrophe. Together, they create a cycle of frustration, despair, and reluctant forgiveness. One of their greatest strengths is timing. Hardy perfects the slow burn, that long pause between disaster striking and his reaction. A glance to the camera, a sigh, a tie adjusted just so. Laurel, meanwhile, specialises in the oblivious mistake, hammering a nail into his own thumb or misunderstanding the simplest instructions. The magic lies in how they respond to each other. Hardy doesn't just shout or rage, he suffers. He carries himself with the dignity of a man who believes the universe has singled him out for punishment. Laurel, meanwhile, never seems to realise he is the cause of the punishment. It is a dance of character as much as comedy. The arrival of sound could have ended them. Many silent stars faltered when audiences finally heard their voices, but Laurel and Hardy thrived. Laurel's hesitant, high-pitched English tones contrasted perfectly with Hardy's rich southern drawl. Dialogue became another layer of comedy. A simple line, "Well, here's another nice mess you have gotten me into," carried the weight of 1,000 pratfalls. In 1932 they reached a peak with The Music Box. The film, about two hapless deliverymen trying to haul a piano up an endless flight of stairs, won them an Academy Award. To this day, it is considered one of the greatest comedies ever made. What makes it timeless isn't just the absurdity of the task, it's the way Hardy's mounting frustration and Laurel's blissful incompetence turn a simple delivery into an epic struggle against fate itself. Audiences across the world embraced them. In Europe they were adored. In South America, Asia, even in countries where English was barely spoken, people roared with laughter. Their humour needed no translation. The raised eyebrow, the stumble, the look to the camera, these were universal. At the height of their fame, Laurel and Hardy were among the most recognised entertainers on earth. They toured, they filmed, they recorded, they conquered. And at the centre of it all was Oliver Hardy, the man who had once been a restless boy in a Georgia boarding house, now the very embodiment of comic dignity undone. For audiences, Oliver Hardy is forever the pompous yet pitiful buffoon, his dignity dissolving with every fall, every pie, every slow burn glare into the camera. But away from the lights and the laughter, the man himself is far more complex. Friends and colleagues describe him as warm, charming, and unfailingly courteous. On set, Hardy is known for punctuality and professionalism. While Laurel often tinkers endlessly with scripts and routines, Hardy trusts his partner's instincts, waiting patiently, offering quiet suggestions when needed. He knows Stan is the architect of their gags, and he is content to be the craftsman who brings them to life. Theirs is a rare partnership built not on rivalry, but mutual respect. Offset, Hardy reveals passions that surprise many, who know only the screen persona. Chief among them is golf. Hardy adores the sport, playing whenever time allows. He relishes the calm of the fairway, the gentle crack of the club against the ball, the hours spent walking under the California sun. Golf courses become his sanctuary, a place to escape the chaos of studios and the demands of fame. More than once he is teased for spending too much time perfecting his swing when directors are desperate to perfect a scene. Another love is cooking. Hardy is a skilled southern cook, proud of his fried chicken, hams and rich gravies. Colleagues tell stories of Hardy inviting cast and crew to his home, where he would serve generous meals and hold court with easy conversation. In these moments he is less the comic and more the host, nurturing, generous, always making others feel welcome. Then there is music, his first passion. Hardy once dreamed of being an opera singer. His baritone voice, trained in his youth, never left him. Even in Hollywood, he sings for pleasure, serenading friends at parties, sometimes breaking into song between takes. For him, music is more than a pastime. It is a reminder of the path not taken, the career he might have pursued had comedy not claimed him. Yet behind these joys lie struggles. Hardy wrestles constantly with his weight. On screen, it is a source of comedy. In life, it brings health problems and personal frustration. Diets come and go. Doctors issue warnings. But the pressure of constant filming, touring, and the demands of fans make it nearly impossible for him to change. In a town obsessed with youth and appearance, Hardy often feels trapped by his size. The very feature that made him famous also makes him vulnerable. Hardy's personal life is equally complicated. He marries more than once, but stability eludes him. The strain of fame, combined with his own insecurities, leaves scars on his relationships. Yet even when private troubles weigh on him, Hardy carries himself with quiet dignity. Rarely does he allow the public a glimpse of his struggles. Perhaps the most revealing contrast between Oliver Hardy and his on-screen self is his temperament. The Hardy of the films fumes and rages, glaring at the camera as the universe conspires against him. The real Hardy, by contrast, is patient and unassuming. Friends remark that he never raises his voice in anger. Where Laurel obsesses over details, Hardy calmly waits. Where others scramble for credit, Hardy shrugs. His confidence lies not in ego, but in trust, in his partner, in his craft, and in the laughter they create together. This balance between the blustering figure on screen and the gentleman off it explains much of Hardy's genius. He is not acting out of vanity or anger. He is acting from empathy. He knows what it feels like to be laughed at, and he transforms that sting into a gift, a performance that invites audiences to laugh with him, not simply at him. Oliver Hardy, then, is not just a clown in a bowler hat. He is a consummate professional, a loyal friend, a lover of music and food, a man of quiet dignity who devoted his life to the service of laughter. And it is this complexity, this private gentleness paired with public buffoonery, that makes him, even today, such a compelling figure. By the 1940s, the golden era of Laurel and Hardy is beginning to fade. The world is changing. Comedy is changing. The fast-paced gags of Abbott and Costello, the screwball dialogue of Hollywood's talkies, and the biting wit of new comics begin to capture the public's attention. The gentle slapstick of two men in bowler hats seems to some a relic of a bygone age. But Oliver Hardy and Stan Laurel do not fade quietly. They embark on ambitious tours, particularly in Europe, where their popularity remains immense. In Britain, they are greeted like heroes. Crowds line railway platforms just to catch a glimpse of them. The duo perform stage shows, reprising routines and crafting new ones for live audiences. In war-torn nations, their comedy is more than entertainment, it is medicine. For audiences scarred by conflict, a Hardy slow burn or a Laurel head scratch provides a momentary escape from rationing, rubble and grief. Yet behind the curtain, life grows harder. The studio system that once carried them has shifted. Roach Studios is no longer the bustling comedy factory of the 1920s. Laurel and Hardy make a few features for other studios, but the spark is dimmed by meddling producers and weak scripts. They remain beloved, but no longer command Hollywood's full spotlight. For Hardy, age and ill health begin to creep in. Heart problems and high blood pressure follow. Doctors urge him to slow down, but the demands of touring and performing make rest difficult. Yet through it all, Hardy remains steadfast. He continues to work, continues to perform, continues to offer his audience the very best of himself. His loyalty to Stan Laurel never wavers. Even as scripts weaken and opportunities shrink, Hardy trusts Laurel's instinct to find laughter in the smallest moments. Their bond, both professional and personal, is the anchor of Hardy's later years. In 1955, Hardy suffers a massive stroke. The once robust figure, the man who filled the screen with presence, is left weakened and frail. The golf clubs gather dust, the stage tours end. For a time he retreats into quiet life, shedding weight rapidly under medical supervision. Friends who visit him are shocked to see a man once so physically imposing reduced to a shadow of himself. But even in frailty, Hardy's warmth remains. Stan Laurel visits him often, the two old friends sharing memories, laughter, and silences heavy with what cannot be said. Hardy cannot perform anymore, but in those visits the partnership endures. It is more than work now, it is brotherhood. On August 7th, 1957, Oliver Hardy passes away. He is 65 years old. News of his death spreads quickly. Across America, across Europe, tributes pour in. The newspapers speak of the end of an era. Stan Laurel, devastated, refuses to perform again. I couldn't go on without him. he says simply, and he never does. Laurel spends his final years quietly, responding to fan letters, keeping alive the memory of the friend and partner who had been by his side for 3 decades. Time has a way of dimming fame. Stars burn bright, then fade as new lights appear. But Oliver Hardy defies this rule. Decades after his passing, the laughter he created still resonates. The image is timeless. 2 men in bowler hats, one round and pompous, the other thin and bewildered. A piano sliding down an endless staircase. A door slammed in the face. A slow, despairing look to the camera as the world collapses around them. These moments are etched not just into film history, but into cultural memory. Hardy turns that shared pain into joy. Laurel and Hardy's films continue to find new audiences. Restored and reissued, they captivate children as easily as they once did their grandparents. Festivals celebrate them, statues stand in their honour. Modern comedians cite them as inspiration, marvelling at their timing, their chemistry, their ability to communicate volumes with a glance. And at the heart of it all is Oliver Hardy, a boy from a Georgia boarding house who never fit in at school, who found comfort in song and laughter, who transformed the sting of ridicule into the balm of comedy. His story is not one of overnight stardom, but of craft, patience, and the quiet brilliance of a man who understood, better than most, the rhythm of laughter. The curtain may have fallen, but the laughter, it endures forever.